Hello and welcome to Athletic Therapy Ontario's Health in Motion podcast. My name is Dawn Duncan and I am pleased to be your host. Today we have Perry Schwartz joining. Perry is the VP of Marketing and a spokesperson for the upcoming 2026 Prosterman JCC Toronto Maccabi Games. Athletic therapists have a critical role in major multi-sport games. They manage the entire injury life cycle for elite and amateur athletes, including youth athletes, such as those getting ready to come to Toronto to participate in the JCC Toronto 2026 Maccabi Games. This August, after 40 years, the Maccabi Games are returning to Toronto, and the Ontario Sports and Athletic Therapists Association is honored to be serving as the Games' official community partner, working alongside the medical team, but focused on recruiting qualified Ontario athletic therapists to take on head therapist roles for more than 10 sports being played at 11 venues, while engaging close to 3,000 young athletes. Participating in games such as these is a career goal for most athletic therapists. Today, we are being joined by Perry Schwartz, a spokesperson for one of the lead organizations of the JCC Toronto event, to gain more insights. Welcome to Health in Motion, Perry. Could you provide the correct pronunciation of the word Maccabi and tell us something about the origins of that word and when and how the games were first started?
Absolutely. So the word is pronounced Maccabi. There are a few different pronunciations out there, but you did a great job, Don, with the pronunciation, but it is pronounced Maccabi. And the name Maccabi really connects back to the Maccabees, which is a big part of our story around the holiday Hanukkah. The name Maccabi connects back to the Maccabees, who are an important part of Jewish history in the Hanukkah tradition. They represent courage, resilience, and those are very much still the values that are in place for the Maccabi Games movement and the JCC Maccabi Games that are coming to Toronto. And the International Maccabi Games started in Israel in 1932 and have been described by many as the Jewish Olympics. The JCC Maccabi Games, which are coming to Toronto this summer, is part of a North American movement to connect teenagers, young people 12 to 17 in North America and actually from all over the world through sport.
That's a great background, and thank you so much for sharing that. Did you choose the OSTA athletic therapists as community partners to fill the therapist role because of our first responder emergency care competencies and the point of injury field care skills as partners to your medical team?
The short answer is absolutely. This is why our partnership with you is so important. We see the athletic therapist as a value partner, both because of your twofold expertise. First, as a first responder in the emergency space, and then secondly, your point of injury field care skills. Like, you guys get it, and you will be an invaluable resource to us during the game. Through this collaboration, we've gained an even greater appreciation for the athletic therapy profession. Athletic therapists bring a very practical and specialized skill set to an event like this. They are not just treating injuries as they happen, they're helping us think ahead and be proactive to prevent injuries, everything from how venues get set up and where we put certain things around the fields or around the spaces. This is the kind of support that we have been getting from athletic therapists as we get ready to host these games. And for us, that kind of partnership gives our families, our coaches, the athletes, and all the organizers of the event a ton of confidence going into what will undoubtedly be a very exciting week.
Great. Can you share how the games are returning to Toronto after 40 years and how local partners and sponsors are organizing to host them in 2026?
Absolutely. So this is very exciting because Toronto last hosted the Maccabi Games in 1986. So it's been 40 years since the games have been in the Toronto community. So it's a really meaningful opportunity for the community and a great time for us. The return of the games, it reflects really years of work and vision being led by the Prosterman JCC and Schwartz Center JCCs to be the hub of the Jewish community in Toronto. Everyone from local partners, sponsors, donors, volunteers, coaches, families, the list goes on, but particularly from the community, like our partners in the city of Vaughan and Richmond Hill and Markham and Toronto, who have all really held hands on this event and come together to make it happen.
Provide our listeners with a better sense of what the Maccabi movement is all about, how it taps into the life-changing power of competition and sport while also building confidence and sportsmanlike character.
Absolutely. So the games are definitely about sport. The athletes train, they work really hard, they're part of teams or an individual sport. The medals are given out, so the results matter. But we say what really happens at the Maccabi Games, where the magic really happens, is outside of the playing field. It's off the court, off the field, and it's really the connection between these young people, especially at the times we're going through. And it's these friendships and these connections that really form the foundation of the games. So what happens at a Maccabi Games is, like I said, there's competition on the field and on the courts and in the pools, but the athletes all return to a hub, and that's where they kind of hang out. We have a program called Hangtime, which is literally that. They hang out, they spend time together, they eat together. They're mingled between different, delegations from different communities, and there are a number of different events and activities for them. So it's like an all-encompassing event that starts with sports, but really ends with those relationships that they build throughout the week.
It truly sounds like an incredible special event for the youths, but everybody involved. 2026 is a big year given that there are the major Maccabi Games in Israel this June and then the local games here in Toronto in August. The 22nd Maccabi Games will take place in Israel from June 30th to July 14th, 2026, hosting over 8,000 athletes from approximately 55 countries competing in 45 sports. The fact that the JCC Toronto Games will host 2,000 to 3,000 young athletes with 10,000 expected spectators attending speaks to the remarkable interest and commitment to the Games. Do you expect the games here in Vaughan, Markham, and Richmond Hill, just north of Toronto, to stay above the fray of politics and have the sport competition showcase the same spirit, bringing people together in a similar way despite the increase in anti-Semitic incidents worldwide?
This is a great question. Thank you for asking this question. Anti-Semitism has definitely increased all over the world, and we've seen it in our own backyards here. But when these young people come to Toronto this summer, we are planning to give them a safe, welcoming, and joyful experience. We have great partners throughout the cities, throughout Vaughan, Richmond Hill, Markham, Toronto, working with our security network, the JSN, and as well with local police and authorities.
Thank you so much for sharing that kind of behind the scenes work and everything that's being put into it. Athletic Therapy Ontario and the recruited registered Ontario athletic therapists committed to the success of these games have already studied the sports and venue to anticipate injuries and treatments as part of our readiness. The final question has two parts. First, given the number of local games organized and hosted successfully in recent years throughout North America, do you have a sport injury report benchmarks from those games to help you anticipate injuries and the need for emergency versus regular competitive injuries?
The health and safety of our athletes competing at the JCC Maccabi Games is of utmost importance to us. We're fortunate that the JCC Maccabi Games have hosted over 80 Maccabi Games over the years, and we have pretty good data on the types of injuries. Each host community has its own mix of the sports that they're offering and the venues that they're operating out of. So there's a little bit of difference from city to city and games to games. But we are absolutely look at past games to to realize what the demands might be.
Do the JCC Toronto Maccabi Games organizers have a message to Ontario athletic therapists and other listeners to this podcast that may be interested in attending or working in the games?
Yes, absolutely. So my message would be, first, thank you to the athletic therapists who are going to be participating in the games, and to the association for working with us on putting this all together. So thank you very much. You are providing us with a service that we couldn't obviously do on our own. And the message to the broader community is there's still opportunities to get involved. So we're still looking for host families. And we are also still looking actively for volunteers to help with everything from handing out water to handing out t-shirts to helping direct these athletes onto their buses after their competitions. So definitely visit the website torontojccmaccabi.com, and there you can find everything you'll need to find on how to get involved in this summer's games.
Well, thank you so much, Perry, for your time today. I'm excited. I'm going to be at the games. I'm
Oh,
one of
awesome.
the behind the scenes therapists here, working to get everything organized as well. So I look forward to the games, and this was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Don. Thanks for having me.